Cyclone MMA. Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns was freaking fire, dude. That fight was awesome. And I took Burns to win that fight. I made a lot of videos. I talked about this a lot on the channel over the past couple weeks. I thought people were overlooking Burns so much. He was like a plus, 400 underdog. Everyone thought Khamzat was just going to crush him in the first round. And this was a war, people. This fight was awesome. You had everything. Even like the walkouts were cool. You had freaking Darren Till and Khamzat Chimaev, the new bromance, just chilling on the cage, hanging out, watching Gilbert Burns enter the octagon. Round one starts off, and Khamzat still did his thing, right? He still rushed Burns. He still went right after him, threw a few punches, then went for a takedown. Gilbert Burns was able to defend pretty well. I think ultimately Khamzat got the takedown, but he showed a lot of respect for Gilbert's BJJ. He didn't want to go too far into anything. He didn't want to stay in Gilbert Burns' guard too long, but they just threw back and forth, and as the fight continued, it just turned into a slugfest. It went from a technical fight to these two dudes just trying to knock each other's head off. The end of round two, it felt like a Rocky movie. Like, you know clearly that Khamzat won the first round, and in round two, you could tell that Burns was winning that. He dropped Khamzat, and at the end of the round, you just had Khamzat's coach screaming at him. Also, at the end of the second round, you had Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns getting a little chippy. Burns shoved Chimaev off of him, and then Chimaev kind of slapped him in the face. It was just a back-and-forth affair. You know, Gilbert gets dropped in the first round. Khamzat gets dropped in the second. Who got dropped in the last round? I think they both stumbled a couple times. This fight was freaking awesome, dude. I mean, the four first fights that Khamzat Chimaev had before this, he had been punched twice. And in this fight, I think Gilbert probably landed 130 strikes or so. It was just, Gilbert Burns outlanded Chimaev in this fight. That's insane to me. I know Chimaev won, and rightfully so. He took the first and the third round, but the third round was pretty close towards the end. I know Gilbert Burns seemed to have gassed out, and then he found a second win, but I wish this was a 5-round fight because I think these guys would fight a little bit differently, and I think who wouldn't want to see 5 rounds of these two fighting? Now, a narrative I've been hearing on social media is that it seems like people think that Chimaev has lost stock in hype through this fight, which I think is completely absurd. For me, it proves so much. We did see that there are some holes in that he's a human being, but he is a damn good fighter, and the people are saying that he doesn't have a shot against Usman. Yes, I think Usman's the favorite in that fight. I think he's the best fighter in the UFC today, but Khamzat Chimaev absolutely can beat Kamaru Usman, because I think Gilbert Burns had a pretty good performance against Usman. I mean, he dropped him in the first round, and to think that Khamzat Chimaev can't win that fight if they were to fight a couple times is just crazy to me. Khamzat is still huge for this division. He has a lot of power, and his wrestling's still super strong. I'm not going to get into the whole Usman argument because I don't think he's even fighting Usman next. That's what I thought was going to happen. It sounds like they're going to try to make Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington. Sign me up for that. And that's a fight that I'm super interested in, both the lead up in the press conferences, and then also the fight itself is super interesting. And that one will be a 5-rounder if they have it, I would assume. But Gilbert Burns, dude, I hope that he is not feeling bad right now. I hope he's not upset about his defeat because he is a tank. And I know that whoever fights him next is going to have hell on their hands because Gilbert Burns is going to unload on that person. I am never going to doubt this dude again. I know he didn't come away with a W. I know I picked him and he didn't win, but I think he proved a lot of people wrong in this, and he was a gamer in this fight. So honestly, the stock for both of these men has gone up drastically in my book, and I want to see this fight again down the road. I'm glad to see the respect between them. I'm glad to see Khamzat a little humbled. I know that's weird to say when you want to fight, but I think he's gotten Gilbert Burns' respect, and I think he understands that this guy is legit. So this welterweight division's getting exciting. I know you have some prospects in this division that are looking really, really good as well. And I think that this is going to be a Shark Tank division 155 here pretty soon. But Burns versus Chimaev, a fight for the record books. I have a reaction video, but I'm not going to post it, I don't think, just because I'm too antsy. There's some fights I get so amped up about, and this is one of them, where I kept standing up, sitting down, screaming at my TV, which can make for some fun content. But for this one, I'm like, we're going to chill out and not post this one. But yeah, what do you guys think? Burns versus Chimaev. Did any of you have Burns winning that? I didn't. I thought it was pretty clear. Khamzat took the first round and the third round. Burns took the second round. But it seems like the whole robbery situation's been going on a lot over the Twitter sphere. It sounds like I know people are talking about that with Jan versus Sterling. So I'm curious if there's any like diehard people who are like, Burns won that fight. I don't think so. I thought it was a close-ass fight, especially that third round. But that was some fun crap. I want to see more of that stuff. But Burns versus Chimaev, it lived up to the hype. What a war. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson.
Amanda. Duh.
Next, we got Artem Lobov. We're going to stick him right up at S tier. Just kidding.